For an occasion such as this, I saved an article from Newsweek that was published 14 years ago, November 1st, 1999. And even though it's 14 years old, its point is as relevant today as it was back then, as the world was anticipating with great dread Y2K. The author, Kenneth Woodward, entitled this piece, "The Way the World Ends." His opening paragraphs go like this. For most of Western history, when the world began has been a matter of curiosity, but predicting when the world will end has been an all-consuming passion. Of all the books of the Bible, none has fired the imagination of the West more than the last, the mysterious apocalypse. The four horsemen of the apocalypse, the heavenly book with 7 seals, the beast with the mark of 666, the whore of Babylon, the deceitful Antichrist. These are just a few of the powerful and troubling images that Revelation injected into Western art and consciousness. Its prophecies have been of even greater consequence: the return of the Jews to the Holy Land, the millennial kingdom of Christ on earth, the battle of Armageddon, and the promise of a new heaven and earth have justified numerous wars and revolutions and inspired utopias and religious sects of every sort. Millennial dreams and apocalyptic nightmares are never far below the surface of the American psyche, especially now as the third millennium approaches. A Newsweek poll found that 40% of American adults do believe that the world will one day end, as Revelation describes, in the Battle of Armageddon. And at this point in the article, then, Woodward kind of steps back and surveys how people through the centuries have tried to predict the end of the world by cracking what they believe to be the secret codes and messages behind all the bizarre imagery found in the apocalyptic literature of the Bible. And he concludes with these very valid observations, I believe. He says, one can only wonder how he, the Apostle John, would have reacted to these throughout history, who have used his vision to justify violence, war, paranoia, and even hate. Though widely read for the wrong reasons, John's apocalypse nonetheless insists on hard truths that no serious believer can discount. One is that sinners have reason to fear a God who, having chosen to create the world, can also choose to destroy it. The second is that the just have reason to hope in a God who stands by those who trust their lives to him. Thinking of the end of the world like contemplating one's own end is a painful process. But studying the apocalypse presumes that even the end of the world is within the province of God. And who's to say that John's mystic battle between Christ and Antichrist is not a valid insight into what the history of mankind is ultimately all about? Now, I would write that article a little bit differently, but that's not bad for a liberal magazine, actually. And I especially want to pick up on what Woodward sees as a misuse of the book of Revelation. This is an enormously complex and large topic, but what I want to say is that one of the reasons that Revelation is oftentimes misused is because people misunderstand the nature of its literary form. The book of Revelation is an example of an ancient form of writing called apocalyptic. Now, the word apocalyptic comes from the Greek word apokalypsis, which means revelation or unveiling. It appears in the first verse of the book of Revelation, and because John's writing is kind of dominated by this genre of literature known as apocalyptic, the book of Revelation is sometimes referred to as the apocalypse. Now, the latter chapters of the book of Daniel, which we are presently studying, are actually the earliest of the surviving Jewish apocalyptic writings. In fact, the apocalyptic imagery of Revelation, written at the end of the 1st century AD, finds its origin in the book of Daniel, written 700 years earlier in the 6th century BC. In many ways, the book of Revelation actually picks up where the book of Daniel leaves off. And so our study for the next several weeks in the prophetic section of Daniel really provides a necessary framework for those who want to read and understand the book of Revelation. So to begin with, I want to say a few words about the nature then of apocalyptic literature in the Bible, because it's so very, very important that we as God's people think clearly and accurately about biblical prophecy. The world is definitely tuned into the matter of the end times.